Hey, do you know that as a web developer and as a beginner front-end developer, you have to know the structuring the web content. In this video, we will be talking about how you can structure the web content. Let's understand what is web contents. Web contents is everything that you see in a particular web page. It can be images, audios, text, videos, or other interactive elements such as search bar or any links. Whatever you see in a page, it can be an ad, it can be a clickable link. Everything that you see in a page is simply a web content. Alright, so a web page is basically how you structure the web content. From structuring, I means how you assemble, how you organize the content of the web page is structuring the web content. Alright, this is a very precise definition about structuring the web content. If you are a beginner as a front-end developer or you are starting a web development from the front-end side, then it is a very basic thing that you must know. Okay, so how you structure the web content. So we use a language called HTML. Alright, so rather not to get confused with the programming languages, HTML is not a programming language. Programming languages such as C, C++, JavaScript, they are the different programming languages. Even Python, it's a programming language, but HTML is not a programming language. HTML is a hypertext markup language. Alright, it's just a markup language that we used to annotate or to structure the web content. Okay, we give the meaning to the content we provide in the web page for our user or for our clients. Alright, we will be talking about the HTML in a few minutes. Alright, before that, let's understand what are the few basic or essential things that you need in your computer to start using the HTML. Alright, so the very first thing is you need is IDE, that is Integrated Development Environment. That is simply a software that you can use to write the HTML code. You have Visual Studio Code for Windows, then you and Linux and Mac. Alright, Sublime, Notepad++. These are different options. Sublime is usually comes in Mac OS. Alright, but you can install even Notepad++. But in Notepad++ you have to write everything manually. So I prefer using Visual Studio Code. Alright, second thing you need is Node.js. So Node.js is basically a JavaScript extension language for the server side. Alright, but you need it so that you can run your JavaScript file individually. Alright, so it just provides you an environment for the JavaScript file. So you need Node.js. Third thing that you need is a live server. This is an extension that when you install the Visual Studio Code, there you can see that you need an extension called live server. This server helps you to see the live changes that you're making or how you're organizing your web content side by side. Alright, then you need a browser because the page that you're going to see or the client is going to see is basically open in a browser. So you need a browser. Alright, so let's get started. So the very first thing is that Visual Studio Code. You can just Google Visual Studio Code and then you can simply click on download. Okay, once it's open, I'm using Windows 10, so I can use an installer 64-bit. Alright, you can just simply install from these of the links. Just click on x64 and you can install this particular version of the Windows. Alright, second, from the Linux you can install from .deb or .rpm, and again you can choose from 64-bit processor. Alright, third is for the Mac. Alright, you can see the different versions that you can install through CLI or zip installer. Okay, however you are convenient with, you can install it. I personally use as a beginner, for the beginners, to use a user installer or system installer and just install it. Alright, second thing that you need is Node.js. Again, go to the Google, write Node.js and you can find the page that comes up and you just click on download. Alright, here you can choose LTS version. You have to choose the LTS version. Alright, I'm using LTS version. Then for the Windows you have to choose all right. And then, or simply you can, if you are already a developer or you are a step above, okay, and you're using npm, then you can install through the npm as well. Here are the list how you can install it, but as a beginner I will recommend to use Windows installer or use standalone binary.zip file. All right, you can install it from here. I have already been in this page and downloaded all these softwares for the setup. All right, then you need a browser. It can be a Firefox, it's your preference. You can use Firefox or you can use Google Chrome. Okay, just click on this download button from the respective sites and you're good to go. All right, so once you done with this, let's get started with how you can start structuring the web content through HTML. All right, so I hope you already installed everything that I mentioned in the previous section. All right, after you have installed, okay, in your desktop or wherever you want, just simply create a folder. All right, I have created a folder and let's name as the beginner. Okay, beginner web dev. All right, okay, then you can simply right click on it and you can see open with code. All right, so just click it and there you can see it will open the Visual Studio Code. If you have installed everything properly, then you can just see a Visual Studio Code. I already installed it. Okay, if this pop-up appears, just simply clicks yes, I trust the author, because it's simply your. Okay, just a second. All right, so for the extension for the live server, what you need, go to the extension or you can simply press Ctrl+Shift+X and you will be simply redirected to this extension page. All right, from here you have to search live server. As I have already installed this extension, so it's showing that already it's installed. All right, and you have to find Ritwik Day. All right, I can just click it and you can see, okay, I have already installed it. So if you are new to this, you're going to install it right now. All right, and then you're good to go. All right, so let's begin with a very fresh page, or many people say a boilerplate of the HTML. So welcome, and now we are going to structure the web content. All right, so let's begin. So the very first thing, that after creating the folder and you opened it with the Visual Studio Code, now you need a new file. For that you can just simply click Ctrl+N. Here you have created a new file. Now you have to choose the language that you're going to use. For that you have to shift Ctrl+Shift+M. okay, sorry, Ctrl+Shift+K. Alright, so Ctrl+K and M. You have to just press Ctrl+K and then you have to simply press M, and here you can see and you can write HTML. Alright, so now this page is being referred to the HTML. Alright, you have to just save it, Ctrl+S, and then you can just give it any name. I'm giving it a home, or let's give it index.html. okay, so here you can see save as type. This is the extension. All right, even if you just choose all files from here and you can give simple.html, that is the extension for HTML file, it will be still saved as HTML, but by default here you can choose the HTML file. All right, for now I'm just using all files and I'm using the extension. All right, so here you can see that the page has been saved. All right, and if I show you the folder in my desktop, here you can see this is the index file. Though this file is right now empty, you can see that 0 KB, that is, there is nothing in this file, is totally empty. All right, so let's start. All right, so the very first thing, okay, that you can do with the Visual Studio Code is like a small emmet that you can use, and it is used by just simply you can write a simple thing and you can just expand it, like a boilerplate. Boilerplate is like a template for the HTML where you can continue coding without writing everything from the scratch. All right, for now you just have to press Shift and press the exclamation mark. Here you can see the emmet abbreviation, that so whatever I will choose and I will then press tab, it will expand. So for now you have to just press shift and single exclamation mark, and then you have to press tab. As you can see now that you are presented with this boilerplate. Okay, so let's talk about this. Alright, so the very first thing that you see is doc type HTML. Basically this just telling the browser that it is an HTML kind of format file. Alright, and so the specifications or the rules will be according to this file, according to HTML. Then you have HTML tag. Alright, so very first thing that I want to discuss about is tag, HTML tag. Alright, for now let's discuss it, and then I will be talking about the tags and attributes. Alright, so here is an HTML tag. In this tag we have attribute language and the value is English, that is EN. Okay, now let's talk about what is HTML element or HTML tag. Alright, so basically when you're structuring the web content, then you have to use HTML tags. Alright, or you can simply say HTML elements. I hope you can see guys now. Alright, so the very first thing that you need is HTML elements. Alright, so in this HTML elements you have two things that you need to consider. The very first thing is that HTML tag. Alright, and the second thing that you need is attribute. Alright, attribute. Alright, attribute always comes in a value, in a pair. Okay, it comes in a pair of key and value. Alright, key is the name and the value is the whatever value you can provide with it. Alright, we will be talking about that in the code as well. So okay, so don't worry about it. Alright, so HTML tag basically have two things. Alright, an HTML tag can be an open tag or a close tag. Alright, I can just write it, wait for a while, and that is open tag and close tag. And the HTML elements which don't have closing tag is called empty elements or empty tag. Alright, so now understand what is HTML element. So HTML elements basically just contains everything inside an HTML tag. Alright, so HTML tag have open and closing tag, and open and between the open and closing tag we have the content. Alright, so let's take an example over here. Suppose there is an h1 that is for the heading. This is open tag. Then you have closing tag. For the closing tag you have to use the backslash, and then you have to use the same name that we are providing over here, h1. Alright, then you have to write h1 and you have to close the square bracket, angle bracket, sorry. Alright, and now this is HTML tag that has open tag and close tag. Between these two tags whatever you write is the web content. Alright, suppose I'm writing heading for the page. Alright, so between the open and close tag you have HTML content. Alright, and this whole thing is called HTML element. I hope I'm clear. Alright, so let's talk about the HTML in the coding. Alright, so here again you can see HTML tag, that is the open tag, and then you have the closing tag. Everything in the page is written within the HTML tag. Alright, then you have again the head tag, open tag, and its closing tag. Between this we have the web content. Here in the head section we use information. There are different HTML tags or HTML elements that we use for the different purposes. Okay, because structuring the web contents also includes giving the meaning to the web contents, alright, or the page. Alright, so here we are using the meta tag. If you notice properly, meta don't have any closing tag, so this is an empty element. all right. Okay, so what Meta is doing, Meta is just providing an information to the browser that whatever the content you are writing will be the UTF character set, all right. Character set is the attribute, okay, that is a key, and UTF-8 is the value, all right. Similarly, language, that is lang, that is the attribute, and it has a value English. So this is the attribute and value that we just saw over here, okay, when I was talking about it over here, attributes that comes in a pair of key and a value, all right. Then you have meta tag once again to provide the information, name for the attribute, that is viewport, all right, content with device width, initial scale. Okay, basically this tag is simply telling the browser that the initial width of the page will be resized according to the browser, and also the zooming is very initial in its initial scale from this value, all right. Then we have a title attribute, title tag, all right. In this we have open, and this is the close tag, and between this we are providing the name of the page, that is the document right now by default, okay. So we can rename it as first page, all right, and we can just save it, okay. After providing these sections in the head, then you can move on to the body section. Okay, so in every single web page there can be only a one body tag and one head tag and one HTML tag, all right. So in whatever the content you are going to provide in your web page, that should be within the body tag, all right. Now we are going to talk about something that is very important for our structuring the web content, all right. So I'm talking about just a second, all right. So I'm talking about types of HTML elements. Basically there are two types of HTML element, that is block elements and inline elements. Okay, so the very basic difference between the block elements and the inline elements are, for the block elements, let's talk about the block elements first, okay. Okay, the very basic difference between the block and the inline elements are, the very first thing we will be talking about the block elements. So from here you can understand the difference between the two, all right. Block elements will have, okay, new line before and after the content, that whatever content you are providing within the opening and closing tag, it will be within it will be having a new line before and after it, all right. Then you have, this is the basic difference, all right. The second thing, block elements, all right, some people, by the way, let me tell you that some people will also write block level elements, and it's both are the same things, all right. The second difference is that block level elements or block elements will always take the whole width, okay, the whole area of the particular page, that is from the left to the right, whatever the space is provided, it will take the whole width by default, all right. Then let's talk about inline elements. So as we told that in the block elements there is a new line before and after the web content, that is the text. For now let's take an example of the text, but for the inline elements there is no new line before or after the text, all right. The second thing is it never takes the full width, all right. Always it's the content space, all right, the space that is used by the content, all right. Let's talk about some block level elements. For example, there are heading that is h1, all right, h2, and you can go on till h6. Okay, this is like an hierarchy. Okay, h1 will be really bold, h2 will be a little bit smaller, h3 will be more smaller, then h4, h5 and 6. All right, and make sure that whenever you're using these HTML elements, the h1 h2 for the heading, it should be in a proper hierarchy. All right, so this is the first example of block elements. The second that you can take is P for the paragraph. All right, the third you can do is a section or a div. All right, we will be talking about all these tags, particularly when I will be writing the code after few minutes. All right, then we can take example of some inline elements. All right, some inline elements are span. You will be using span a lot when you will see writing the code, or we will be going along with me in this video. Then we will be using tag inline elements as well. Okay, in a span, block B, all right, italic, okay, and others. All right, so there are many, like you can use strong. This is also inline. All right, basically strong and B is basically just for the styling, to change the layout or the look of the content. All right, we will be talking about that. Okay, so now let's start developing or writing the code and structuring the content. All right, so the folder we created in my desktop. All right, so let's right click on it, let's open it in the Visual Studio Code. Okay, and now let's see how the extension live server we installed, the extension we installed the Visual Studio Code in a starting point. Let's see how they works. All right, so I have used this boilerplate. You can also use it if you're using the Visual Studio Code. Let's make it half screen. All right, and just simply press Alt L and O. All right, so as you can see the starting, and here's the page. All right, you can see that it's totally a blank page. All right, you can see that it's totally a blank page. Okay, now let's write something. If you see that in the title section I have wrote the first page, so you can see the first page is written over here, that the page name is, or title is, the first page. All right, now let's start. For the heading I'm using h1, and the very good thing about Emmet, okay, and the Visual Studio Code is that you can just use the tag name. All right, and you can simply press tab and it will show you the it will bring you the opening and closing tag together. All right, and then you can write the content. So see, I wrote just h1 and then I'm pressing tab. See, all right, so h1 for the heading of the page, and as I will save it, you can see the content in the browser. Okay, this is live. Okay, see, so whatever changes you are making it over here, you will see immediately after saving it. You don't have to refresh every time. All right, so as you will hit save, okay, the changes can be seen over here in the browser simultaneously. You don't have to refresh every time. All right, so we have used h1. Okay, this is also a block level element. All right, now if you use a span, all right, a span is an inline element. All right, so if you're using a span, you can write anything, inline element. All right, because a span is an inline element, there will be no new line. All right, but because h1 is a block level element, so inline element will be written below the heading. You can see, let me hit save. See, because heading h1, this is a block element, and there should be space between above and after the content. All right, so heading has a space before this inline element. All right, now if we take another element, all right, if we take another span, it will be on the same line. you can see the content is continuous. All right, so but if we use another block elements like P for the paragraph, all right, then you can see that that there is a space between inline and block elements, because the block element, this block element that is from the paragraph P should have a space before and after it. I hope I'm clear. Okay, let's make it a very quick revision. Block elements will have a space before and after its content. Over here the content is heading, the text that we're using, and for the inline element we are using this content, the text inline element, and always stays on the same line. This is the content. All right, this is the open tag, this is the close tag. All right, and then we have the content between them. I hope you guys are clear. All right, so let's begin with a very small very basic page that you can make a few links, okay, so that you can click on it and you can just go to that random page. All right, so what I will be doing, let's create a page. All right, a very small basic web page. For the heading we are reading clickable links. All right, now I'm using some tags that we will be discussing while I am writing the code. All right, so for now I'm using UL for the unordered list. Okay, now you will get the bullets or the numbers, you can list the links. All right, so I'm using it. You can see right now when I'm doing. So UL is for the unordered list. I press tab, I came under it. Okay, now I'm writing the content that we need within the UL, that is unordered list. I'm using li. Okay, now the very good thing is about Emmet is that I'm writing this like several times. All right, that like how many links the much links I needed, 4 to 5 links, I have to write it separately. Okay, but for the Emmet the good thing is that I can simply write li, and we have to use a simple trick, that the multiplication or asterisk, and then let's suppose there are 3 or 4 links, I'm using 4, so I have to write 4 and I have to simply press tab. You can see I have now 4 list element. Li is for the list elements. All right, and then I can list the links that I need. All right, but the another good thing that you can do is that, suppose if I just remove it, you can simply write unordered list. For the content you have to write greater than li is the content, that is the list element. You have to use asterisk, the much element you want. I'm using 4, so 4. Okay, then I should have to press tab. All right, see, and now for the list for the link element, for the links, so that you can click, you have to use a tag name a. Okay, and then you have attribute hyperlink reference, that is href. All right, but for now I'm just giving the link of the page. All right, and I will be talking about these attributes separately. Okay, for now it's a Google, so you have to write Google in between the open and closing tag, and I have to give a link over here, that https all right. So if I hit save, you can see that I have list of elements. You can see the bullets over here, bullet points, but as I haven't mentioned any content within it, I haven't wrote anything, so it's totally blank. And I just explained you the link element, the anchor element a. See, here's a Google link that is underlined, it is in a different color. Okay, so when I'm taking my cursor over it, you can see that there is a hand tool. All right, so when we will click on it, it will take us to another page. Let's show you. See, we are on this another page. I hope this is interesting for you. All right, let's get back, and now what we have to do is we have to insert these links, okay, of different pages, obviously, in this particular list elements. All right, remember UL is for the unordered list. All right, OL is for ordered list. If I just remove U and I mention O, then it will be in the numbering format, you can see. All right, so for now we are using just UL. All right, now we can use Emmet. All right, then let's just remove it. All right? UL, then we need LI. All right, make it a grouping. Now LI will be having list link elements, that is A. All right, and just close it. We should be having the 4. Alright, so I just grouped LI list elements with the anchor elements, and I need 4 of them, so I've just clicked write 4. I'm so sorry. All right, I just hit 4 and I'm pressing the tab. Okay, so you can see now that within unordered list element you have list element, and then you have every list element have a single link. All right, so now here I can write or give the content and links so that it will be noticeable over here. Let's make it easier for you to see. All right, just a second. I hope you're clear for now. All right, you can see that every UL have a list element and every list element have an anchor element. All right, over here now we are going to provide link. So the very first should be the Gmail. All right, and we will be writing the content, text content, so Gmail. Then let's take another example, that is about Instagram. All right, and again we have to give the content that all right, here we will be having the Facebook. All right, and for the last, let's simply keep it Google. All right, so likewise you can use any links. All right, so from here you can see that we have an attribute hyperlink reference, and then we give some links. Okay, always make sure that for the hyperlink reference, that is href, we have to give an external link. All right, that can lead to another page. All right, there is another attribute where we use links, that is src. All right, so there are two different kinds of links, that is absolute and relative link. Relative links is something that is within the folder, and absolute link is totally an external, that like I'm using over here HTTPS. So this is an external link, but I can also use internal link. All right, but basically hyperlink reference is for the external links. All right, and if you are using src, which is for like for the images, for example, let's hit save for this. Okay, now you can see that we have now 4 lists of different clickable links, that is for the Gmail, Instagram, Facebook and Google. All right, so congratulations, you created just a linkable clickable links, and your first page is ready. All right, now we will be talking about that links, that is different links. Okay, for now, right now I have no images in my folder, but for any image that you're putting in the folder over here, over there, you have to simply use img as a tag for the image. Then you will find src and alt is for the alternative of the for example, if the page has some delayed, or it is not opening, or have some broken internet connections, so alt will show this alternate content in that in the place of that picture. All right, so I'm just writing it a picture, and because I'm not using any image right now, so they will be that image section will be replaced with this alt value. All right, just hit save. See, as there is no picture, I haven't provided any link, any photo over here, so it is just showing a picture because of the alt. So whatever you are giving the value, make sure that always you have to provide the alt value. Second thing, img is an inline element, all right, and it is an empty element. It has nothing like a close tag over here. It's just an open tag. All right, so let's see what is the difference between the absolute and relative links. Let's download an image first. It can be any image. Let make it as hello. Let's download an image, right? So I'm using this image. It looks pretty fine, I guess. Yeah, all right, so I'm using it. Let's save this image. Now I am going to save this image in the particular folder where I have this our folder. So I'm going to save over there. It's in the desktop, beginner dev, all right, and I'm going to save it. Let's name as first file, first image. All right, let's click save. All right, now if you see, there is a file over here. All right, so this file is having some link. If you can see, like I hover over that file, so you can see user developing with MK, that is my channel, desktop, beginner, the folder name, and then the file name. All right, so this is the relative link that we are going to use. Okay, we don't have to write the full link. We can simply use, now for the to use that image, we can simply write img. All right, then you have src, that is the source. All right, now here you can simply use external or internal links, that is absolute or relative links. I'm using relative. For relative, you have to simply, if there is something that is on the within the same folder, that is called the relative links. Okay, you can use the relative links within the same folder. I'm again making it pretty sure that you should know that if the things are within the same folder, then you can use the relative links. All right, if it is src, I just have to write the name. Use the src, write the name first. You can see as I wrote first, it is showing the file name. All right, I just click on it and I can hit save. You can see you can see the full image over here. All right, and I have to provide the alternate name, so picture, hello, picture. All right, and if I just for intentionally I'm writing a wrong name, you can see that if the page link is broken or the page is not rendered properly, then you can see the hello picture written over here. See, all right, so this is the use of the alt, and this is how you use the image in a web page. All right, yeah, but now let's suppose this image is within another folder. All right, suppose we are writing a new folder, images. All right, and this folder, this image is within that image folder that we created within our main folder. Okay, we have this folder, you can see, I hope you can understand like this. We have this folder, then we have images folder where we are storing the images, and then we have our HTML index file. All right, I hope you can see the structure of this folder thing. All right, so now the link is broken. For now the link is broken. All right, you can see that there is no image over here. All right, so what you have to do is, for now, as we are using relative link, because everything is within the same folder, now you have to simply put let's just remove it. Let's show you from the beginning. Okay, for this value you have to use simply a dot, and then you have to use slash. You can see you are getting all the structure of that or the hierarchy of the document of the folders that you have within that particular folder. All right, so images folder is there. I am using images folder, and then we have first image. All right, and you can hit save. So the much folder you are going within, you can use a dot and then slash all right, and then you can use the folder name. All right, so here you can see that we have this image. All right, so for now you are familiar with h1, the paragraph. Let's write something, the paragraph. Here are the links, or just write as shortcut to go to different social accounts. All right, so you can see as para is a block element, so it has a space before and after the content. All right, so you have para, you have ul and li. Okay, you can use li or the list element without mentioning it within unordered list. All right, but mostly people use it within ul or ol. All right, I hope everything is clear for now for everyone. I hope this video is not too long, going to be too long, but this is a very introduction part and it should be very essential and important thing. All right, so let's make a proper content. All right, so here are the links. I removed the image, okay, but the image is still there. All right, in that particular folder. All right, so for now this is the web page that we are using. All right, the second thing that you have to know and you must know about it, that is the semantic elements. All right, let's see what is semantic element. Okay, the second thing that I have to talk about is semantic elements. That is, all right, so what basically semantic elements is, it's just how the meaning of that particular tag, explaining what is going on within that tag. All right, this is what the semantic element is. Semantic elements basically define that what kind of content you are writing within the tag. All right, for example, if there is a tag section, then it is clear that you are using a section element. That is like you have a newspaper and there are different sections about the articles you're reading, so you can understand that this section is particular for this article. All right, so in the same manner you have section. All right, so you can section in that way, you can understand that this is a different section than the previous one. All right, so we have a section element and then we have main. You can use one main element within a body. All right, main, footer. All right, and then you have header where you mention all the headings and all. All right, or the menu section, you can use it within header. All right, so these are a few semantic elements that explain. There is another that is aside. So these are few HTML semantic elements that helps you to know what kind of content our HTML element is providing. All right, so you don't have to see all the chaos of the coding in the different lines. You don't have to get confused over that. All right, so this is basically what semantic elements is used for. And for now, for today, in today's generation, everyone should use semantic elements. All right, so let's get started with some semantic elements. All right, over here now let's just use semantic elements. You will see that there is nothing different, no difference between what you are looking right now, but we are going to use the semantic elements. So for the body we have to use header. For the header section, that is for the head, that is clickable links and all. All right, so I'm just using the header section over here. All right, you can see that now you can see that as I clicked saved and I saved the page, the code, you can see that there is no visible difference. All right, but what we are doing, we are telling the browser that we are using the semantic elements to describe the header section of a page. All right, similarly we are going to use now main. All right, for the main we are going to use main. All right, and here is a closing tag. All right, so now we are telling the browser that we are using the semantic elements main. Okay, semantic element, and within that, this is the main content of our page. and you can see there's no visible difference between what we are writing and what we have earlier. All right, then we have a footer section, all right, and so on. All right, so footer is basically what you go to the any page and you can see downside there are some few links provided, all right, about us and all. So that is for the footer section. All right, now we can also do is, like, suppose there are more than one section. All right, so this is the one section. All right, let's suppose we have section. All right, suppose we have more than one section, then we have section. This is the first section, then again we can use a section element. All right, and then you can just continue. You can see there is no visible difference, right? But now in the second section element, if we are going to give another web content, then it is different thing. All right, and then it will be continued in the same page. All right, so this is how you structure the web page. All right, for now I want to tell you something that you need to know, that if you're using the semantic elements, make sure that you must aware that what kind of elements you're using within it, that is block or inline elements. All right, you cannot use block elements within inline element. All right, it will not be that good. Okay, for example, if we have span, so we are not allowed to, or it is not good to use a para within it. All right, see, as you can see that we have this para content. All right, but the span is not working over here. All right, there's nothing to do with the span, because if we use another element, it is going to be in another line. All right, if using span, new span, see, it is another line. So that's why we don't use a block element like p within inline element like span. All right, but there are a few exceptions. One exception that you can use is that link, that is an inline element. All right, you can use an image within it. So this is an exception that you have to use it, or sometimes you use it. All right, like when you want the image should be clickable, then like suppose over here, if I'm using images and link, and we are providing a link over here, suppose all right, now you can see that when I'm hovering over this image, it is clickable. Now when I will click it, it will take me to the gmail.com. see, it's loading. All right, you can see. All right, so this is what I'm saying, this is an exception. All right, but basically you should not use block level elements within inline elements. So what I want from you guys is to just go to any of your preference or preferred site and just read about different elements, different HTML elements. There are some I'm mentioning over here. The main I mentioned over here, that is main, header, that is semantic elements, aside, that is also semantic elements, footer is a semantic element. Then you have normal block elements, ul, li, ol for the order list, paragraph for p. So there are many others. All right, like we can use video for the video that you want to embed in the page. All right, then you can use audio as well. For that you have the audio tag. All right, again you have to provide the src or the source. So I hope you understand what is going on, that whatever we are writing from top to bottom, it is simply written as that. This is how you structure a web page. Okay, and after this, when we will be reading, we will be discussing about CSS, then we will again talk how you can change the color of these different links, how you can change these colors, text color, or the layout, the background image and everything. Okay, so let's have a quick revision. So for the structure of the page you need HTML. The HTML you can use Emmet and Visual Studio Code. Just simply press shift and exclamation, and that's how you get the boilerplate, and then you can start writing the code. Alright, so you for HTML you should know about the HTML elements. HTML elements is made of HTML tags, that is open tag, close tag, and the HTML content between them. Alright, that is the HTML element. Alright, so for the HTML element, what you need to know that there are two types of different elements, that is inline and block elements. Okay, you cannot use inline elements within the block elements. The block elements will always have a space before and after the after its content. Okay, inline is always in the same line. Alright, I hope I'm clear with that. Alright, then you have different elements that you should use. Alright, so they are header, that is for the semantic, that is a semantic element, that is for the header section. All right, and then you can use the h1, that is for the heading, and you should always use the hierarchy, that is h1, h2, h3. You should not use anything like you are using h1 first, then you're again using directly h4 or h5. This is not very good practice. All right, so always make sure that whatever you're using, it should be in a hierarchy. All right, so I'm using h1 right now, so you can use it that within the header tag, that is a semantic element. You're telling the browser that this is the header section of my page. Then you have main to tell that this is the main content of my page. You have a paragraph, that is the block element, which will have a line before and after its content. Then we are using section, again it's a block level element, and also it's a semantic element. All right, then you have inline elements, that is link, where you have different attributes. Okay, the one thing that I want to tell you about attributes is that in every HTML elements you can use attributes. Attributes is just like an additional information about that particular HTML element. All right, I hope I'm clear. I'm again repeating, attribute is just like an additional information about that particular HTML element. All right, so the basic, the very common attribute is class. All right, here again you can see, as I mentioned, that you have an attribute name, that is class. Then you have to assign a value. These values should always be in a quote. All right, for the class is like we are giving class a name. All right, heading. So now wherever we will be using these heading class, we can style them in a particular way. All right, we don't have to write different codes every time. So these are the things that we will talk about in CSS, that it has the other advantages. All right, so we can use class. You can have ID. All right, so ID attribute has one thing very interesting, is that ID should be always unique. All right, it's always unique, and always it has a hashtag whenever you're going to use that ID within the page. All right, so few global attributes are ID, class, title. All right, for the title, what I mean this. All right, don't get confused with this title attribute. The very interesting thing is that in this title attribute, you cannot use, in this title tag, you cannot use a title attribute. It will having nothing to do with it. All right, this is the only thing that I found personally very irritating, to be honest. So first page, let's try it. All right, it has nothing to do with it. Okay, the title attribute is not working over here. All right, but as I mentioned the title attribute over here in the heading, as I will take my cursor in that heading, you can see the first the heading over here, the title we're using. All right, just see, you can see the heading is over there. See, you can see that as I take my cursor in that particular header, that is clickable links, you have the title heading. But if I take the same thing in the this, you will not see this title thing over there. Even if I remove this, it has nothing to do with that. See, all right, so I don't know why this is like that, but it's this. Okay, so this is a weird thing about HTML. So you have title, you have class, and you have ID. All right, so these are the basic global attributes that you can use in HTML elements. Okay, few attributes are there that is particularly used in a particular HTML tags. Okay, like for example hyperlink reference. You cannot use hyperlink reference that is href in different HTML tags. You can use it only within anchor tag, that is a tag. All right, similarly you cannot use src or the source attribute anywhere else. All right, for example the source attribute that we were using over here in image, you cannot use this source in any other HTML element. All right, so make sure you go through all these attributes and elements. I mentioned a very brief introduction about this HTML and the elements that you have to use, you can use, and the things that are going to be over there. So as we will be expanding our terms about the HTML, CSS and JavaScript, we will be creating the pages, then you will understand that I will keep explaining new elements that we are going to use. All right, there is also some things that very interesting that going to come, so make sure you hit subscribe and comment whatever you're not understanding in this page. All right, and I will be discussing that particular topic in a separate video. Thank you.